Oh, hi, this is Shivali from eGadgets for you, and you are in luck. As because in this particular video, I will give you the full review of this Asus Zephyrus G14 laptop that I've been using extensively for over a month now. But before I start with the video, I want to make sure of one certain fact that while I was planning to purchase this particular laptop, I was doing some research in the internet, and yes, of course, I've gone through some YouTube videos, but most of the videos that I found of this particular laptop was having the AMD Ryzen 9 CPU. There was no single review or good review for the AMD Ryzen 5 4600HS, which I was planning to purchase, and I have purchased this actually, and I've used more than a month extensively, more than extensively if you can say, and this is the time to give you an honest review of Asus Zephyrus G14 laptop running on AMD Ryzen 5 4600HS CPU. So without further ado, let's get into it. So now, starting off with the review of the Asus Zephyrus G14 laptop over here that I have over here, I want to make sure of one certain fact that this particular laptop came with 8 gigs of internal RAM, but to future-proof it and to make sure that the AMD Ryzen, since it's a RAM-hungry CPU, so I have actually purchased a 8 GB additional RAM, and I have installed it particular RAM in this particular laptop. So now it's running on a 16 gigs model of 3200 MHz CL16 RAM. And of course you will find that particular video in the cards as well as in the description how to add a RAM to this particular laptop or any laptop whatsoever. So now having that particular information out of the way, what we want to make sure is that let's start with the build quality of this particular laptop. This Asus Zephyrus G14 actually comes with a magnesium alloy built body, and of course as you can see that yes, it is a very much user friendly on a one hand usage perspective, as you can open and close this particular laptop with one hand. Yes, there when you tweak the screen of this particular laptop, you will see minor tweakings over here and there, but there are no cringes. Build quality is actually very good over here, I should say, because yes, I am quite accustomed to use plastic body in laptops, and having used this particular laptop, which let me remind you that I have actually exchanged my MacBook Pro, which was 8 years old, with this particular laptop. Yes, I am now opting for the Windows platform, of course, eventually. And now yes, what I want to make sure over here is that this particular laptop from a build perspective view actually gave me no problem whatsoever. And yes, I have to make sure of one certain fact that this particular Asus Zephyrus G14 also come with another model that has this animation matrix over here, which has this particular animation running over here as well, but this particular model does not support that. I think it's a gimmicky thing, because end of the day when you work in a laptop and the lid is open over here, you are not able to see the animation effects, so you maybe the lid is actually facing the wall, so yeah, that's a gimmicky sort of thing for me. So I've not opted for this particular model, and have set some box over there and have gone from an extra 8 gigs of RAM, as I've told you already. Now starting with the performance perspective of the Asus Zephyrus G14, let us get the big elephants out of the room. Yes, starting with the Geekbench score over here, as you can see, on a single core score, it scores around 1085 and 5407 on multi-core score. And again, if I go figuratively on another test, that is a Cinebench R23, on a single core it gives you a score or point of 1117 and a multi-core score of 7336. Now actually I can bore you with a lot of information, with a lot of numbers over here, but what do these particular numbers actually mean in real life usages? Now let me tell you one thing. When I was running the Cinebench R23 for the single score actually, there was no stuttering, and the fans, there is a specific fans for the CPU, there is a specific fans for the GPU, and yes, in this particular laptop on a single core environment, the fans did not turn on whatsoever. When I was testing the multi-core one, towards the end the GPU hit a temperature of 75 degrees and the CPU hit a temperature of 55 degrees, and at that point of time I can hear that one of the particular fans has started to go on. The reason I am telling you that one particular fan started to go on, because when both the fans starts to go on, the sound is a bit different, as you will find out when I was testing the Geekbench test over here. Yes, the GPU actually had a maximum temperature of 98 degrees centigrade, and also the CPU had a higher temperature in that respect also. At that point of time I can hear that both the fans turned on. Now while we are in the topic of turning on the fans, I have to make sure of another fact over here. Yes, I have used this particular laptop to edit my YouTube videos, and I have used the DaVinci Resolve 16 in this particular laptop over here. Let me show you this particular screen. I'm sorry I have to record that particular thing with my mobile because I have to let you hear the sound of the fan. First of all, it is a 14-minute video that I was rendering at that point of time in this particular video, and yes, as you can see that the time limit for this per 14-minute clip, it took a time of 8 minutes, something around 8 minutes to render this particular clip, and it was a full HD recording, and it was not a 4K recording, I should say. It's a 1080p recording altogether. And yes, once while it was rendering, actually you will hear the fan sound over here. Just hear it at first. The reason that I showed you this particular sound over here for the fans turning on over here is because in this scenario, as you can see in the Asus Armory crate, the CPU temperatures and the GPU temperatures hit something around 90 degrees while this particular rendering was going on. And yes, I can hear that both the fans were turned on and the sound is huge, actually a lot, actually, as you have heard previously. That being out of the room, you are well aware of the fact that yes, when the temperature runs high, actually let me be very clear with this particular point, 92 degrees, in the 90s, actually the CPUs and the GPUs running at 90 degrees is quite common for AMD platforms when you're into heavy stuffs, heavy editing or heavy rendering and stuff, or heavy gaming whatsoever, in that scenario or in that aspect. But yes, the fans does not go on always, and yes, the fans actually goes on when there is a huge spike in temperature for the CPU and the GPU. Now, speaking of the fans, you will find a lot of exhaust has been very minutely crafted in this Asus Zephyrus G14. There is a lot of spaces for the hot air to be exhausted out of this particular laptop. A lot of actually good designing or good implementations, I should say, has been done in this particular Asus Zephyrus G14. Now, while we are in the topic of this particular exhaust, I should say you that there is a very good thinking in the design aspect on how the lid opens in the Asus Zephyrus G14. You will find that in this particular video, as it is showing also, the lid actually tends to give this particular laptop an elevated portion, which actually helps in air intake. Yes, the air intake happens from the exhaust at the bottom over here in this particular laptop, and yes, the elevation in the lid, this particular elevation helps in sucking in or blowing in cool air from the environment into the body, into the motherboard of this particular laptop. So yeah, that way the craftsmanship and the thinking about a good intake of cool air and the exhaust of hot airs is done perfectly in this Asus Zephyrus G14 laptop. Now let's move on to another topic, that is the keyboards. Now the reason I have to lay emphasis on the keyboard of this particular Asus Zephyrus G14 is because there has been a complaint in the keyboard section of this particular department that the backlit lights are not well lit. Now there was one update after I purchased or set up this particular laptop. There was one update which involved the backlit light of this particular keyboard, and let me show you in very dark conditions of light. See this particular aspect over here in very dark environment. It's not dark, it's actually completely dark environment. You will see that the lights lit up quite well and you can view the keyboards just fine. And now speaking about keyboards, yes, they are evenly placed, and since it's a 14-inch laptop, so you will miss out on the dedicated numpads. But in my previous laptop, the other Acer laptop that I have with me, it's a 15.6 inch of screen and it has a dedicated numpad. I have never used a numpad whatsoever. It depends upon your personal preferences. If you're into numpads and all, then yeah, you will miss out in this particular laptop. But yes, apart from that, typing experience is great, and just hear the sound of the keyboard while you are typing. As you can find out that yeah, the keys are not that loud. So even while you are typing, while you are tucked in the bed, because yeah, let's face it, we are working from home right now. IT has been shifted to home and we are not in the office, we're working from home, and I am also working from home. So yes, from that perspective, the backlit lights, the bright lights I should say, and actually a good sounding keyboard, a good typing experience keyboard gives you a wonderful feeling from a keyboard perspective in this particular laptop. Now let's talk about the connectivity options that are available in the Asus Zephyrus G14. Towards the left hand side of the laptop, you will find the power adapter over here and a HDMI port and the Type-C port, which actually can be used as the 18-watt charge, and also for a display output from a type C perspective with this particular type C port available on the left hand side, and you will find the 3.5mm headphone jack present in this particular laptop. Towards the right end, you will find two USB 3.1 connections over here, which is actually very fast. Let me tell you, yes, those are fast USB ports, but only two are available over there. And you will find one again type C adapter over here, and yes, you can actually charge your iPhones only with using that particular type C adapter, or yes, you can use it on a data cable perspective with that particular type C port, but that does not support the display output and that does not support charging for the laptop as well. And yes, since you will find only two USB port type A ports over there, so yes, this particular thing comes in handy, because for me I use a lot of USB connectors, so yes, I had to buy one USB hub over here. And another important thing that this particular laptop misses out on is the card reader, the SD card reader. Yes, so I had to purchase this particular thing also for the SD card reading or perspective over here. I have to insert it over here and do it with a USB hub. I connect it over here. So now, yes, getting rid of that, those particular things, those are the connections that are available in this particular laptop of the Asus Zephyrus G14. And talking about omissions in the connections, you won't get a camera. Yes guys, that might be a bummer in this particular prevalent scenario of the irritating COVID. Yes, the Zoom meetings, yes, how will you do that? Yes, I do a lot of meetings, I do a lot of Skype meetings, I do a lot of Zoom meetings as well, and yes, I had to rely on my mobile phone cameras for that. I have a dedicated video that actually shows how to use your mobile phone camera as a webcam with your laptop. So do check out that particular in this card section or in the description. I'll also put that particular link. So yes, I had to rely on that particular point. And yes, if camera is a big deal for you, this does not have a camera, you may have to go for using your mobile as a camera, or again, you have to buy a separate webcam for this particular scenario as well. Now, having got that particular thing out of the way, the next big thing that I want to talk about the Asus Zephyrus G14 over here is the GPU. This is powered by a 1650 Ti graphics card, and yes, since we are in the GPU perspective, we cannot go past having talk about games. Before that, I want to make sure one certain fact over here is that this particular display is a 120p display over here, and yes, it does have 120 Hz refresh rate. Yes guys, the one with the animation matrix that you find over there, it has a 2K display, but that does not support a 120 Hz display. That is limited to 60 Hz, but this particular model over here has a 120 Hz display, refresh rate, 120 Hz refresh rate. And yes, that was one reason again I opted for this particular laptop, and yes, price being the one scenario over there. And yes, 120 Hz, so yes, we have to go to the game. Now, I have played 5 games in this particular laptop, and yes, I have used this particular laptop, although I'm not a heavy gamer, although I'm not a gaming expert as such, but yes, for time pass here and there when I get time I do play games. But for the sake of making our review, I had to play games dedicatedly over here. Now, talking about games, I have played the Shadow of Tomb Raider, Doom Eternal, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Hellblade, Battlefield 5 and GTA 5, and these are the scores as you can see on your screen as well. I have played the games on a ultra and high settings, and the average frames per second that you will find in this particular reading over here, as you can find in the particular screen also. Now let me be very frank with you, since I am not a heavy gamer or a professional gamer over here, so yes, I will suggest you strongly to again look in the other videos that in YouTube that are present for dedicated gaming videos with the Asus Zephyrus G14. There are a lot of beautiful videos that are there. Since I'm not a heavy gamer, I cannot make those particular dedicated gaming reviews for the laptop, so it will be bad for my audience, because I have to be honest at the end of the day. But again, these are the frame rates that I have got, and yes, you can rely on that, and also go ahead and check other videos as well. Now let us talk about the battery and the charging unit of the Asus Zephyrus G14. Speaking of the charger, this is a charger. It's a very sleek and very slim one, but yet it will give you a 180 watt fast charger, and it has a battery capacity of 76 watt hours. That in real terms, if I can show you over here in this particular screen, as you can see that yes, when I was in certain modes, like you will see, there are 3 different modes in this particular laptop: the performance mode, the boost mode, which boost mode is actually called the turbo mode, or the silent mode. So these are the 3 different modes available, and yes, on performance mode in V mode, that is a mode that I have actually used extensively in this particular laptop, except for gaming, which when it automatically turns to the boost mode or the turbo mode, as you can see over here. So yes, on a performance mode, this particular laptop, the battery of 76 watt hour actually gave me a backup of something around 5 to 6 hours. But then again, just for the sake of making this particular video, I have tested my laptop on battery twice or thrice at the max in this particular 1 month. As I've said that we are working from home, and even in my 10 years of my career as web development and app development, I have seldom used my laptops in batteries. So yes, maybe I am not the right person to talk about batteries in laptops, but again, if you are eager on the battery perspective of this particular laptop, it will give you a decent 4 to 5 hours on extensive usage on a single 100% charge in this particular laptop, which according to me is quite decent. Then again, let's talk about the speakers. Yes, this is a wonderful thing. In the front, you will find 2 tweeters, and at the bottom, in 2 ends, you will find the speakers of this particular laptop. Let me tell you, the sound output on this particular laptop and the speakers are actually sweet. The reason I tell you it's sweet is because yes, it is. I should not say that it has a heavy bass. I should not say that it has a depth in sound. But yes, it gets the job done. If you are in a quiet room in the close confine of your house, then yes, you can watch the movies and stuff like that in your particular laptop. That speaker may work fine. But then again, if you're into gaming and heavy gaming, I will definitely suggest you to go for a dedicated headset, because that will not get the job done as per the speakers are concerned over there. So yes, it's a decent speakers, I should say, but not the loudest. There are options to actually go for a 2.1 or 4.1, because we have the speaker in and out happening in this connection happening in this particular laptop. And again, yes, you have the option to add a headphones as well. Now, speaking about one more important thing in this particular laptop is a dedicated key you will find over here that has the ROG logo on that particular key, and pressing that opens the armory crate. As you can see this particular screen, it actually gives you all the information regarding the CPU usages, the GPU usages, CPU temperatures, the GPU temperatures, the RAM usages, memory, the hard disk usages and stuff like that. So that does comes in handy, because it will give in terms of performances or to check performances in some heavy scenarios, you can find out that how is the CPU and the GPU doing in your particular laptop. Then again, speaking of other aspects that comes with the Asus Zephyrus G14 is that you will give a Windows 10 Home Edition. You will find MS Office 2019 lifetime validity straight out of the box with this particular laptop, and 1 year of McAfee antivirus. Now here where things get interesting, because I have found out that most of the users as of now does not use any antivirus in the laptops, and depends upon Windows Defender only, because it's a very good defender and a very good anti-security software embedded in the Windows 10 according to me also, because I also do not use an antivirus. But you will get a 1 year McAfee full protection plan with this particular laptop. Since it's free, I'm using it. Lastly, my review of the Asus Zephyrus G14 for my usages of heavy coding and of course meetings. By meetings, yes, the camera is an omission, which is a bummer for me and most of the people over here also. Even if you're into streaming, you can't do that. Also, you have to buy a separate camera, or you have to plug in a separate camera also. So yeah, that's a bummer. But barring that, the microphones of this particular laptop are pretty good, because the meetings that I've done with this particular laptop, the microphones, there were no complaints from the sound department from the other parts or the other parties as well. Now then again, this particular laptop, from a gaming perspective, from an editing perspective, from a coding perspective, because those are the usages, and yes, I'm not a heavy gamer, so yeah, from a gaming perspective also, from an editing perspective also, as I have told you, yes, editing, gaming and coding, this is a great laptop. And mind you, when I power on this particular button, the power on button, which also has an embedded fingerprint scanner embedded in it, and the laptop boots up in just 7 seconds. Mind you, even after 1 month of dedicated usages and heavy usages, the laptop boots up in 7 to 8 seconds at the most, and it's ready to rock and roll. Yes, the power, of course, of the AMD Ryzen 5 4600 GPU, 16 gigs of RAM, and most importantly, the 1 TB NVMe SSD that this particular hard disk has in this particular laptop does works wonder from the booting perspective and also speeding up performances perspective of the any task that you throw in this particular laptop. So yes, according to me, it's a double thumbs up for the Asus Zephyrus G14. For me, in this particular price range, this may be the best laptop that you can buy. And yes, you can actually save heavy pricing for not opting for that animation matrix one, not opting for that 160. There is another version, a variation of this particular laptop that goes with the 1660 Ti graphics card and the 2060 Super graphics card as well. But yeah, those are heavily priced actually. So yes, according to me, this is a sweet spot in this particular price range because it gets all your job done perfectly in that and also very quickly. So Asus Zephyrus G14, AMD Ryzen 5 4600HS CPU, 1650 Ti graphics card is a great wonder, is a great powerful machine for you in this particular price range. Hope so this video was helpful. If you have liked this particular video, consider liking and sharing with your friends and families. Stay subscribed to eGadgets for you. Turn on the notification bell because you have to stay updated with a lot of happenings happening in this particular channel of eGadgets for you. That will be it guys for this particular video. Bye for now.